This place is for huggers. Good afternoon, everyone. We're gathered here today to celebrate and participate in Matt and Amy's wedding ceremony. You are to be married according to the orders, customs, and authority granted by the government of the province of Alberta. Matrimony is a state enriched by long and honorable conditions of devotion. According to the law, each participant is equal and supports the common rights of one another for the marriage. Marriage is not just a ceremony. It is a commitment for life. Life! There is a desire for lifelong companionship. Couples support and comfort each other throughout the changing experiences of life. May you laugh together in joy, grieve together in sorrow, and grow together in love. Marriage also means you have grown to know each other and love the other one, notwithstanding their faults and quirks. Amy, I understand one of your quirks is that you do impressions of Adam Sandler character, Billy Madison, particularly the shampoo versus conditioner bathtub scene. I've been asked to give you the opportunity to say, "Stop looking at me, Swan," in character if you so choose. Okay? Matt, I've known you since elementary school. I've seen your transition from emo Matt, listening to Chemical Romance and crying in your room, Matt, listening to indie bands that no one knows the name of, to now corporate Matt, strategic account manager at Aviva, who I believe now listens to Nickelback. Matt's favorite song, Photograph, by Nickelback, will be played on repeat throughout this evening's party. Now, marriage also means caring as much about the welfare and happiness of your marriage partner as about your own well-being. Marriage also means working together to create and sustain a home in which marriage may flourish. With this understanding, Matt and Amy wish to be joined in marriage, and therefore I now call upon both of you, in the presence of all those witnesses here, to repeat after me. First, Matt, you'd like to repeat after me. I do solemnly declare that I do not know of any lawful impediment why I, Matthew Anders Poirier, that I do not know of any lawful impediment why I, your name, may not be joined in matrimony to Amy Frances Snow. Now, Amy, repeat after me. I'm going to make this one simple for you. Now, Amy, I do solemnly declare that I do not know of any lawful impediment why I, Amy Frances Snow, will not be joined in matrimony to Matthew Anders Poirier. Now, Matt, I call on those persons, repeat after me, I call on those persons present to witness that I, Matthew Anders Poirier, do take Amy Frances Snow to be my lawful wedded wife. Now, Amy, repeat after me. I call on those persons present to witness that I, Amy Frances Snow, do take you, Matthew Anders Poirier, to be my lawful wedded husband. Now, Matt, do you promise to give Amy Frances Snow your love, your comfort, your companionship, the patience of your understanding, your honor, your devotion, and your love? Now, Amy, you promise to give Matthew Anders Poirier your love, the comfort of your companionship, the patience of your understanding, your honor, your devotion, and your love. Now, Matt and Amy have written their own vows, so I'm going to allow both of them to read it, beginning with Matt. Matt, will you please read your vows to me? And if you lost your copy, Matt.
My life forever changed from faithful, fun Sunday to greatest night of the show. we got tricked into a double date neither of us agreed to. Here we are years later trying to Who says you can't find true romance? I was mesmerized by the striking, interesting, but very shallow quality. And with an assist from a few glasses of wine, learned enough that I knew it. I was thrilled and agreed to sing. The woman I've come to love with all my heart is the most caring, thoughtful, and beautiful person I've ever met. And thankfully someone so tall as me, especially when I'm partner and lover I'm worried I'd never find someone I want to spend time with. And yes, I know you again, Lou. You made that clear. Look how far we've come from our first meeting at my place when he stared me down in the eye, overleaving himself in no direction. Now he was just testing me. To be a faithful, loving partner, a listener, confidant, something you can always do. I'll always put our goals and objectives in mind. I wish every British flying drama and serial killer about the pursuit of the world and move its mind to something belongs to the world. I'm never making a snide remarks when we talk about that for the 5th or 6th time. I promise to be supporter and advocate of your business. I love you little plan. I was too fun to follow. Giving up our living room to transform this to design workshop. Helping craft a strong living room. I promise to always find the same hours. Always seek out the best possible. Whatever life has in store for us, I will know the adventure.
State your vows.
I never imagined that an actor would stamp would change my life. Thank you, Andrew, for dating my former colleague and for having expertise in Italian. Matt, there's no doubt in my heart that you're my husband and my family should be You make every day better, and Debbie and I are so grateful that you choose your lives. You're the most pretty, moving person I've ever seen. Continue to surprise me in the best ways possible, whether it's randomly breaking into stairs or teaching me new things such as what a Poirier is actually. I promise to do my best to live by the values today. I promise to go on as many hikes and trips as desires. As long as art considers me an author and no personally wear. I promise to always come prepared with snacks and be better at eating meals every meal time. I promise to go through as many workout concepts as you want, show the covers, and always be the best so I can improve my shows. I promise to find you. I promise to support you and inspire you in your life. Always be very patient. Hard times and good times to see you from I thought today would be the best day of my life if spending the rest of my days with you makes me really good.
This week, truly well. This week, it's a lasting reminder of our marriage. A symbol of my love and commitment to you. A symbol of my love. When you repeat after me, I accept this ring as a symbol of your love and commitment. Now you repeat after me. I give you this ring that you may wear. It's the lasting reminder of our marriage. As a symbol of my love and commitment to you. And now, you got me, I accept this ring as a symbol of your love and commitment. Now, in that name, as you begin your marriage, let your home be a haven of peace in the midst of busy and changing world. Let your relationship be one of complete truth, love, and understanding between you both. Marriage will yield and be gift to you. May you enjoy a long life, fulfill your purpose, feel content as you live day by day, and keep your promises to one another. In that name, you have consented in marriage and declared your solemn intention in this covenant. For these witnesses and in my presence, you have exchanged these rings as a pledge of your love to each other. You have joined your hands in acceptance of love. Now, upon the authority invested in you by the promise of Alberta by someone who grant those who know, I pronounce you married. Matt? Matthew and Amy Poirier.
regulations that we can still have this. I'd be very worried what Amy might do to that man if this wedding couldn't happen. Or the bridesmaids, they might have her back too, so thank goodness. With that said, again, it is a private event, so we can enjoy this without a mask. However, I'd ask that everyone keeps their moist talking down to a minimum. And that includes you, Brendan Miller, wherever you are. I know after a few scotches, you can get pretty chatty there. Sorry. Anyway, quick intro to myself. My name's Mike. You probably have guessed I'm the MC tonight. You know, I actually had intentions of putting a full program together here, typing things out, doing a good formal job. I plan to do that today. Unfortunately, the PGA Tour Championship was on. So I'm a little shifty on the agenda here, but I can tell you John Rahm shot an amazing last round. He came in second, but it was still a good afternoon. So just bear with me. That said, I mean, I did make up for that, you know, to try to smooth things over. I did crush about 6 of those tequila drinks. So I think that should fill things in here. I should be able to make things go fairly smoothly. And I actually hope that most of you guys enjoyed a few cocktails, because that does usually make my jokes funnier. So, I originally, and again, I'll condense this down because I know we want to get on to the celebration. But I originally met Matt, actually in a fraternity, for those that didn't know, at UBC. Now I know where everyone thinks this is going, but no, I won't tell any frat stories. We keep those a secret. But Matt showed up, and actually ahead of that, I think his buddy Tim Tate, who is here today from London, he had given Matt a heads up that he told Matt there's this guy Mike in the frat that I think you're really gonna like. Turns out, like, Tim Tate was wrong about a lot of things. But luckily that wasn't one of them. So Tim was bang on, and Matt and I, you know, he showed up. Obviously had the best haircut of anyone there at UBC, I'd say. But a guy from Calgary, I figured he'd be into country music, and we actually bonded over both of our like for old school rap music, and such films as Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. Great films, but just so the parents know, maybe not good for all audiences. So then Matt and Amy, they met in 2013, I believe, or sometime around then. And, you know, I think a lot of us were kind of going through the same phase where we met our spouses around the same time. So we went through the same cycle, and again, everyone kind of eventually proposed to their girlfriends at the time, and eventually, you know, became their wives. And I know Matt waited a bit of extra time. And this was a bit of a head scratcher. I know all of us looked at Amy and were like, man, he struck gold here. What's he waiting for? And the other thing, the guy actually, if you look at his job title, he was actually a proposal manager for 7 years. So the fact that he couldn't figure it out was a little confusing for most of us. Now that said, obviously you perfected the art and you wanted to make sure it was done right. And true enough, it was a successful proposal in this case. So all that hard work and research paid off. So, congratulations, guys. So again, and as time went on, obviously my wife Trina and I, we became good friends with both Matt and Amy. The one thing I'll say, they are excellent hosts. Whenever they have people over at their house, dinner is top notch, the food's great, beverages, entertainment, music, everything. So Not surprising when you look around here today, everything's perfectly done. And again, Matt, I'm going to give probably most of those props to Amy with her excellent taste in style and everything. So as kind of Matt and I, again, we're friends here in Calgary for a while, and we actually ended up joining a curling team. Matt was brand new to the sport, and I think it was 5 years ago. He picked it up pretty quick. The one thing I'd say, he actually became pretty committed to the team. So committed that he actually hurt his back and still came out to curl. Now, this limited his motion quite a bit, so he couldn't even get down to throw a rock. And I looked up like a politically correct way to put this, but I'm sorry, I couldn't find one. So Matt had to use like a handicap stick, is what they're called in curling, where you can't get down and curl. And props to Matt, like he came out so confident with that handicap stick, and he literally shot every single shot perfectly for 3 weeks. And it was amazing. I think the whole team was like, why don't you do this more often? And so again, I think later on in the years, as time goes on, and once maybe Matt becomes a senior later in life, then he'll be excellent with this curling stick that he seemed to have mastered. And then I guess the other thing too, I know knowing Matt maybe, one venue that they've kind of introduced us to, my wife and I, and many friends too, they do like the odd afternoon too at the Ship and Anchor. Everyone I think knows that, it's a staple here in Calgary. Great pub, we've met them before for afternoon pints. Had a great time with those two there. And I think the other event they've also introduced us to at the Ship was punk rock bingo. Yes! So this was always a fun event. Obviously they played punk rock and announced some bingo numbers. And we made it a Christmas time tradition that every year we get together, Matt, Amy, and their friends for some punk rock bingo. So we always appreciate that. So I guess all I'm saying is, I think between the two of them, and sorry, the punk rock bingo, I must say, I think Amy, every single year you seem to win. And unfortunately for Amy, she always lets Matt pick the prize. And so Matt usually brings home this some Star Wars decor or something like that. And unfortunately Matt puts around the house and probably ruins the beautiful designs that Amy has around her house. Nice, back of the tree.
Daddy, don't hit me in the face.
So anyway, I guess long story short, I think for both of you guys too, I mean, as you eventually get there into retirement, I think you guys are both going to enjoy the bingo and Matt playing with the special curling stick there that he's grown accustomed to. Sorry, just making out my chicken scratch here. So I think at this time too, and I probably should have done this a bit earlier, but I should introduce Amy's side of the wedding party here. First we have Mallory, who is the maid of honor, and also Amy's business partner. Liz is a bridesmaid. As well as Jessica and Megan. And of course the bridesmaid, Jared. So again, big thank you to the ladies for obviously helping plan all this and supporting Amy through everything. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Don't worry. Sorry, Jared.
I Widget too.
Oh, you made croissants too on the steak.
We did.
Jared, you might be invited to a few more steakettes.
And steaks.
And his groomsmen, Dan, Andrew, Chris, and Lee. And again, thank you to all the groomsmen for going and picking up your suits. Anyway, I won't take up too much more time. I know we're probably running a little behind schedule here. We do have an open bar if you guys haven't discovered that, so thanks to Matt and Amy for that. That said, you'll notice there's a jar there. If you do wish to put a few dollars in there, it will go towards their future trip and honeymoon to France. There's also a card at the front, which I think most of you pass by. If you haven't signed that, please do. And please only write nice things. Other than that, I think the next thing I'll do here is invite Amy's parents, Frank and Roxy, up to say a few words.
Just grandkids then. But there isn't as much work to that for me.
He's pretty loud.
It's on.
Mike thinks he had sitting on his lip.
Good spot for you guys.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, I'm Frank Snow, Amy's dad. We'd like to welcome you and thank you.
She said closer.
I can talk right in your mouth.
Check.
Yeah, right.
Can we get a little gain on the microphone?
Do we have a stand? Hi, I'm Frank Snow, Amy's dad. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you all for coming on behalf of Amy and her mom, Roxy here. Amy is our second daughter. Our oldest daughter, Jessica, and our youngest daughter, Megan, are here in the wedding party along with their families. We know that 2021 has been a challenging year for all of us. And as we've seen with the new restrictions, we're still in this pandemic. But it all makes this time we're having with all you guys so much more special. And it means so much to us that all of you, family and friends, many of you have had to travel from out of towns to be here with us. Matt, we already consider you part of our family after 8 years, but we are so excited to see that you and Amy made it official today. We're also happy to extend. We're also happy to extend a welcome to our family, your brother Kyle, his wife Kim, and their children Emily, and Calvin. There they are. As a dad, it's bittersweet to think of my little beautiful girl who walked around with her yellow blankie dressed in pink is getting married. Since she was a small girl, Amy always was about design, food, and fun. She has always been our blonde bombshell doing her doll hair and painting her nails. Believe it or not, that comes from my family, the Snow. She is so much like my mother, Daphne, who's the only person that I've known. Who's the only person that I know that ever known that have a wardrobe that rides with Amy's. It's a rival with Amy's. We knew that no pandemic would stop Amy from having her wedding bath, even if she had to schedule it 3 times. I remember the love of parties at the age of 4 at Chuck E. Cheese. I remember the continuing as she was a kid and mass sleepovers with 15 kids or more running around our house. I remember as a dad picking her and her friends up from the bar at 2 a.m. in the morning. Let me tell you that the love for parties into her teenagers and also into her 20s, but those stories I can tell you later about. In our family, whether it's a birthday party, a baby shower, or just dinner at Dad's, Amy was the person who made sure everything in the event was special. And it seemed very fitting that the person she chose to be her partner in life was Matt. Matt seems to be the calm and collective guy in the outside, but everybody who's seen his wine and whiskey collection knows he's a perfect match for Amy. Matt and Amy, you've been through a lot, and Matt and Amy, you've been through a lot, and you know each other. You've experienced the successes and sorrows. You had a strong foundation that will continue to build you for your lives together from now on. So this is a celebration that marks the beginning of a new stage in your life, but it also marks how far you have already come together and how deep, committed, and love you are with each other. So I'd like to propose the toast. Hence why I will get the drink. I was prepared. You thought I was sneaking up for a drink. Hey, everybody ready? The rowdy ones in the back? Amy and Matt, we're so happy to celebrate this very special day with you. There will always be ups and downs in life, and you will watch each other. Remember to take the time to walk the best path you can. We are so proud of you. We love you both and wish much love and happiness as husband and wife. Congratulations.
Nice work.
There was one page that had the amplify bigger writing so I could read it.
And then I think next up we're gonna get into dinner. So I'll start by saying grace.
Grace.
Oh shoot! Just joking. I probably am not comfortable doing that after those 6 margaritas there before. Everyone just enjoy their dinner. And we will call up a few speeches here throughout the dinner service. So we'll chat soon. 5.5 until. Oh, sorry, Kyle. Anyway, come on up for Kyle's speech here.
Good evening, everyone. Am I doing better than Frank? Can everyone hear me in the back?
Hey!
As you just heard, my name is Kyle. I'm Matt's brother, and I've been your best man for the evening. Being the best man, I was told years ago, is like making love to the Queen of England. It's a great honor until it comes time to the duty of it. To be honest, growing up with Matt and having 6 years between us, there wasn't a whole lot in common other than him being the younger peckerhead brother. I think one of the fondest memories I had of Matt took place on one of our trips to Kaskaha Lake while on our annual vacation in Penticton. I remember someone buying us ice cream and Matt chose to have a large popsicle instead. If you remember them, they were the large rockets. They were the red, white, and blue. The first time he stuck it into his mouth, it stuck to his tongue, lips, and the roof of his mouth, just like a tongue to a pole in the winter. While people panicked and my mother threw him in the lake to free him, I thought to myself, a little sand throwing asshole definitely delivered. His junior high years were full of carpet in his room never making an appearance due to all the clothes, CDs, and other crap on the floor. Walking in this space was like walking on CD case eggshells. If you misstepped, well, CD or CD case ate it. High school was filled with punk music, long hair,
like my sons you've seen tonight, and a rougher crowd. Honestly, it's a good thing he grew out of this phase and found the friends you see sitting here tonight. Otherwise, there's a good possibility this event would have been held at the Winking Owl with an appy buffet. If you didn't grow up in the Southeast, you probably won't get that one. Young adulthood, he briefly entered the working force at Limerick's pub, first as a bar back, then bartender before making the decision to go to UBC. Honestly, I think this was probably because he couldn't afford to write off any more small SUVs. Another favorite memory of mine from this time was when my mother came home to find the front door of the house wide open, with Matt 3/4 of the way in, laying on the floor, motionless, with golf clubs at his side and red liquid everywhere. My mother explained it as a brief panic, thinking something had seriously happened to him, until she saw the 7-Eleven Slurpee cup laying next to him, containing some of the red Slurpee, and the sound of him snoring like a werewolf. After Matt returned from UBC, where I'm certain he had the time of his life and met some of the best friends he still has today, a joke about other young years, but this is when I feel like myself and my brother became good friends as adults. With another brief career at ATV, he found the company he works for still today, which I still don't know the current name of. He worked as a proposal manager for 8 years, which is about the same amount of time, coincidentally, it took to propose to Amy. Chris Talbot thinks the Q&A process must have been over the top for her. I've never worked with Matt, but knowing him as well as I do in adulthood, I'm pretty sure he is well respected, relied on daily. He's definitely not a person who talks just for the sake of talking at work, and when he does, I'm sure everyone listens to him. Amy. I still remember the lead up to meeting Amy. My dad was out visiting in September 2013 from BC and staying with myself, Kimberly, and our son Gavin. I knew Matt was dating someone we had not met yet, and I believe, thinking back, my dad had already met Amy, and he wanted for all of us to get together because the impression he got from my brother was that this was the one. Sorry. The night Amy came over for dinner, I think we all tried to be on our best behavior, but it didn't last long before we started acting like Poiriers. Reflecting now, I'm glad you got to meet our father. It wasn't long after this that he passed away, and the rest of us knew right away my brother had found the one because of the support you gave him. Moving day. This is the day Amy and Matt moved in together. This is the day all Matt and Amy's friends knew this was going to be official. This is the day I learned about Amy's incredible amount of patience. Moving Matt out of the apartment him and Brad shared started out with the making of possibly an epic disaster. Snow, lots of snow. I can't believe the U-Haul made it that day. The last load we brought to the new apartment included a couch that at one time was the pride of my mother's living room in the early 90s, which wasn't being included in the new apartment, but was being inherited by Brad and was still in the back of the truck. I will never forget Amy's best friend Mallory standing there with me, and she made the comment, "Oh, please tell me that is going up to her place." When we messed with Amy about it coming up, it didn't even seem to faze her. Ever since this day, Amy, you have been part of our family, including my mother in your annual bake-offs with your mother and sisters, being an aunt to my children, the things you did for my mother in the last year of her life, errands, visits to the hospital, hospice. I think some of your family and friends got voluntold along the way to help. This support is not only my brother, but also the entire Whitney and Poirier family. You're an incredibly giving and considerate person. My mother thought the world of you, and I know both my parents would have been thrilled to be here today for this event. I believe this is the part part of the speech, I am supposed to say welcome to the family, but you've been part of our family since the day you moved in with my brother. Today you'll catch Matt and Amy on a Friday night opening a bottle from the vast amounts of wine they have, ordering pizza, and from what I understand, watching an episode of Below Deck. I have no idea what this story, this show is about, so I watched an episode. Let's just say it's a stretch from the days of listening to Bad Religion in high school. So if I can get everyone to raise their glasses. This must be true love. You guys tore up a backyard and laid brickwork together and we're still here today. And Amy, you have chosen to spend the rest of your life with your head laying next to a running sawmill. To the bride and groom. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kyle. Round of applause, please.
Maybe also the biggest threat because I have a huge mouth. And all of you who have now known that, most of you all know the corporate man who I talked about in our little ceremony we had out there. And Matt wasn't always like that. He's what we call in the courts in Calgary a degenerate. And there's a lot of concerning things about his history, but he's a wise degenerate. Matt, his entire life, has been able to accomplish great, horrible things without getting caught. And I still remember the principal of our junior high trying to throw Matt out of school and got all of his associates thrown out of school, but not Matt. Because Matt always just did the instructing and advising as opposed to the actual deed. You know, the majority of, solid blokes who found themselves thrown out of school that Matt avoided, yet advised, is actually astronomical. I would count them in various numbers in the jails across Canada. But Matt has always been the Kaiser Sose of Deer Run. And for those of you who've never seen The Usual Suspects, I feel sorry for you, but basically Matt is Kevin Spacey. He's walking along with his limp leg, and then all of a sudden he's just kicking her. And while Matt was doing all of these things and hanging out with all of these individuals, at some point he became a bartender at Limericks, which are what he's staring at me now going, the years we don't speak of. And anybody who also has been there while Matt was going through those things, we're not allowed to talk about them, but Matt continued the entire Kaiser Sose thing and only advised people to do bad things and didn't do them himself. Those things include that, one, that guy is not that big, you can do it. Two, it's just a prairie fryer, drink it, it'll be fine. Three, it's not that late, and that girl over there is looking at you, so have another drink. So basically, Matt has been manipulating all of us idiots since I've known him. And I could have gone to Harvard, but I didn't. Because of Matt Poirier. And, yeah, I buried past high school, but Matt, you really screwed this up for me. I just want you to know it. And Amy, on that front, despite the fact you're not looking at me, I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry that you ended up with such a lovely guy. And Matt is the brother I never had. And I love him, though I never wanted him as a brother, but I love him. And I love you both. It's great to have you in the social circle that I've known you in, and now you're Matt's wife, and now I have to ask permission to come home, which is probably not going to be granted often. And that's okay. I get that. I get annoying. But congratulations to both of you. You both look amazing tonight. And despite the fact that Matt looks like Kyle, you're doing okay.
There was unscripted. And I did look at Matt and Amy and I was like, should I run up and try to tackle this man? And I was trying to do the math on that. But I would have had to hit him with some pretty good speed to knock the microphone out of his hand. So I figured I'd let him carry on. And it was well done there, Brendan. So next up, Mallory's going to come up and say a few words for us. Come on up.
Hey everybody! Most of you know me. And some of you are just like, oh, that's Mallory. I'm Amy's bestie, business partner, the fourth snow daughter, but most importantly, Bentley's favorite human, number 3. Amy and I have a friendship like no other. We love each other an insane amount, and as business partners, we spend like a lot of time together.
Can we turn up the speakers? They can't hear in the back.
Okay, I'll go closer. No, don't. No, too close. It was a fateful day in 2008 that Amy and I met at the Hampton Garden Inn for Hunter Douglas training. Amy changed my world. She taught me how much I could love Calgary, that after the bar, Chinese food is much better than a hot dog. Oh, yes. Yes, Singapore Sounds. Hello. Ginger beef at 3 a.m. We worked hard and we played hard. She basically has delivered me dinners with wine pairings, soup when anyone in my house is sick. Her heart knows no bounds, and if anyone is close enough to know her, they know that she will literally do anything to make anyone's day better. Her heart is just so big, and I feel so lucky that I get to spend so much time with her. When Matt first came into the picture, I kind of hated him. Sorry, Matt. Then again, I was notoriously really unfriendly to anyone who had an eye for Amy. Like, really rude. But I do remember the very first time I was like, hey, he's a really nice guy, and I kind of like him. And it was the first time we met. So, I got over that. The biggest thing was that Amy and I did everything together. We had like matching Halloween costumes, and I was her date to like every Christmas party and Stampede party, and then Matt came and I was overthrown. Matt, I was the Johnny Utah to her Bodie, okay? Yes. And then you showed up, and I was totally overthrown. But as much as I wanted to hold it against you, and then I tried, I'd end up hanging out with the two of you, and you'd be so cute and in love and smitten with each other, and I'd be like, oh crap, they really like each other. So there was this little redeeming factor where Bentley would totally bark at Matt every time he made a move on Amy, and I was like, yes, he's on my side. Let's out him. But we came around and we were like, okay, Matt, you fit, you work with us. It's all good. Matt and Amy, watching the two of you grow together is something that has been a total privilege, and I consider myself a bit of an insider. I get to see the really mundane moments where Amy's like, hey Matt, do you want a pickle with lunch today? Or Matt's like, let's have dinner tonight with pizza and wine, and then it's not Friday, which is like, maybe not. But my hope for the both of you is that you love and begin to really enjoy those moments and cherish those moments. Because though moments like today might take your breath away, those moments are the ones we take for granted. So if everyone could pick up their glasses and cheers to all the simple moments, all of the moments, and cheers to the bride and groom.
Some of your friends, right? You have a lot of bad friends, man. They love you a lot, but they're bad people. They're good friends, but they're bad people. Maybe that's the right way to say that. I don't have anything bad to say about you. I'm going to disappoint the people that invited me up here to do this. So, first off, the best thing about you is Amy. Congratulations. Way to not screw this up, right? This is probably your last best chance. You're a wonderful guy. You're soft-hearted, you're lovely, you're kind, you're helpful, you're funny, you're one of the smartest people I know. And kind of representing all of the people in the group that works with us, I guess. And we loved you. And that's really all I want to say to Miller's disappointment. So, cheers to Amy and Matt. That's all I got.
That was good. I'm not hearing anymore. I knew you would not say anything. Turn it off.
All right.
Next up, Matt and Amy have a few words to say. Amy, while you are shimmering up here, I must say, I know you had a couple selections for your wedding dress this evening, and I think you did make the right choice. You look beautiful. I'm sure everyone has said that, but I had to do it as well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll pass the mic on to Matt and Amy for the final speech of the evening. So I think, unless Brendan Miller decides to do his second one of the night, which I do not encourage. Anyway, here we go.
Thanks, Mike. I know we're on the clock here and everyone wants to do some dancing, so we'll keep this short as we can. Amy and I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for coming tonight and sharing in our special day. It means a world to us to have all of our favorite people in one room. As you heard, this was our third date. Third time's a charm, as they say. We're happy that Murray and the team here were accommodating the private party, not having, letting us push the boundaries of how late the night can go and not having to wear masks. So thank you, Murray and team. We'd like to thank our wedding party for being such an amazing group of friends and family. Amy's maid of honor, Mallory, her sisters, Megan and Jessica, her friends, Liz and Jared. To my best man, Kyle. To my friends, Andrew, Dan, Chris, and Lee, thank you. And of course, to Roxy and Frank for all the love and support they've provided getting us to this point, including, as you heard, an impromptu landscaping job this summer that ended up being a lot more work than we first anticipated. And a special shout out to Auntie Wendy and Uncle Hugh for being such supportive, generous family members. Throwing one hell of a wedding shower that Frank and I got the opportunity to crash. Fantastic, thank you. We'd like to thank all our friends and family who've come in from near and far. Special shout outs to Vicky, Michael, and Nicole from Vancouver, Dan and Alicia, Luca and Leo from Vancouver, Debbie, Ross, and Joanne from Winnipeg, Andrew from Paisley, Ontario, our friend Tim from London, Son's family. Hopefully one of these years we get to see both girls and Alicia again. To Travis and Reagan, again, also from London. To Sharon, Dawn, their children, Steph, Hans, Jared and Rachel, grandkids Elliot and Helen, coming from Nelson Trail in Roslyn, BC. Thanks for coming, guys. To Lindsay and Nicole from the GTA. And to Cheryl, Derek, Eva, and Preston, also from the Toronto area. We'd like to also acknowledge people who couldn't be here with us today. Auntie Marilyn from Florida, my Uncle Wayne, Aunt Carol from Ottawa, my Uncle Raymond from Vancouver, Paul and Michelle from Windsor, Tom and Lynn from Surrey, Bob and Marilyn, and my parents, Cheryl and Michael. I never imagined a wedding day without my parents, but I know they're here with us in spirit today. Our incredible wedding team today, Carrie, our coordinator, Natalie, our photographer, Tall Liz, Amy's very good friend and hair and makeup extraordinaire, Mr. Mike Shatkowski, our MC, Brendan Miller, my longtime friend and confidant, and well, I don't know confidant anymore, part-time wedding officiant. And lastly, we'd like to thank Uri and his fantastic team here at Alloy. If everyone, if you can do it tonight or over the next few days, we'd love you to give them a great review on Google because they're such an amazing restaurant and such an amazing team. And to Justin, the DJ, thank you very much. We're looking forward to ripping up that dance floor here. And now it's our turn to raise our glasses and thank you all so much for coming here tonight and being part of this special day. Cheers to you.
Thank you, sir. I almost snuck in there a little too early and almost got in between the kiss, and that would have been real awkward. So. Anyway, thanks, guys. So next up, we will get on with the first dance, but I think we'll take about 5 minutes for everyone to.
floor, feel free to join them.